No one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now to learn more.
800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to this week's edition of Game on NTX. Before we get started, today's show is brought to you by Ensemble Co-working, Fort Worth Hub for private offices, co-working, meeting space, and virtual mail. Find your perfect workspace at ensemblecoworking.com. So, just a little precursor to what we're going to do today. We're going to talk some quick hitters. We're going to talk about the March Madness tournament. We're going to talk some college baseball, and all things considered, some would say that this is kind of a slow time of the year, but Not if you watch sports every day of the year like we do. So we'll talk the tournament. We'll talk the opening day roster as well, because the Rangers open tomorrow, since officially technically the season starts tonight on Netflix, which is really weird.
Already going. Happy opening night day kind of thing.
I'm not considering this opening day, because opening day means you have baseball
opening
games in the middle of the
day is
day.
supposed to be day baseball, John.
Yeah.
You and I are of the same mind on that.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people that everybody I talked to said, no, it's supposed to be opening day.
100%. 100%. This is just another way to get the
it's a money grab. You got the
Yeah.
Yankees and the Giants, two huge markets, and it's a money thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into some quick hitters. First things first, I saw this early this week, or maybe it was over the weekend, that the NCAA is actually suing DraftKings.
Looky there.
Looky there.
My
my gosh.
Oh.
We forgot she's a Yankee. She's a Yankees fan. That's our fabulous producer, Miss Tiffany. We love you, Tiff.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
That's great. Greatness.
That's amazing.
That was an unexpected surprise.
Yeah,
folks.
that was an amazing surprise.
That was terrific.
So the NCAA is actually suing DraftKings, saying they cannot use March Madness, Final Four, Sweet 16, Elite 8 trademarks, citing risks to NCAA athletes and group reputation.
What?
Yeah, so they're suing DraftKings because they're doing their, sports betting and all that stuff online. They
do realize that these kids are already getting paid, right?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's the NCAA being the NCAA.
Wow.
I just figured I'd throw that in there in case people didn't hear about it. It's really stupid, but it's a thing. As everyone is aware, unless you've been living under a rock or off the planet the last 72 hours, the Sweet 16 is set. Bill's going to have more to talk about later in the show, because that's his baby this week. Opening day is today, as we already talked about. The Yankees and the Giants take on each other on Netflix. Big firing came out either yesterday or today. Hubert Davis is out at North Carolina. That was a Roy Williams handpicked successor after the legend retired in Chapel Hill after five seasons.
Player. Yeah, former player, been there a long time. He's winning, but at programs like that, their bar is championships, and if they're not getting close to that, then they're not gonna. That's not gonna fly. And they've lost in the round of 64 in the first. Basically, the first. I still call it the first round. I know they have the first four, which is considered the first round, but they've lost in the round of 64 the last 2 years in a row, and that's just not going to cut it there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They let him go. It's their deal. As long as they leave Sean Miller alone, I'm okay.
I think they've got their sight set. I think they might have their. I've heard they have their sight set on one Billy Donovan, who is an NBA coach right now. Which that wouldn't surprise me. Billy Donovan had his most success as a coach of Florida, where he won back-to-back national championships at once upon a time. I know they like the Otzelberger, that guy from Iowa State as well. Those are the top two candidates that I've heard so far.
Donovan was considered for the Texas job, I believe, or he was a name floating around. I love Sean Miller. I mean, we can talk more about that later. Man, he's doing phenomenal for our Horns. But man, they blew a 19-point lead against VCU. And got eliminated.
That'll get you fired. Largest blown lead in that round of the NCAA tournament ever.
Yeah, that sounds something like the University of Texas bullpen. I wanted to bring this up because it's a sore subject for both of us being Mavs fans. Luka's last 9 games, he's averaging 40 points, 8.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists, and about 2.5 steals a game, including a 60-point outing against Miami, a 51-point outing against the Bulls, and 2 30-point triple-doubles. So want to take this time to again say thank you, Nico Harrison, for performing the dumbest trade ever in the history of sports.
The gift that keeps on giving.
what an idiot that guy is. I hope I never have to see his face again.
Right now.
Alabama's Tyler Fay throws the first solo no-hitter at Alabama since 1942.
Wow, very impressive young man.
Yeah, it was 132 pitches that it took him to do it. So he
Damn.
probably can't feel his arm and probably won't for a week. But, he did it. And they also, we'll talk about this later, but they also swept the Florida Gators. There's another tidbit there too. So Alabama sweeps Florida. They get their first no-hitter. Penn State won a national wrestling title as a team, and they also won 4 individual titles. So that's a pretty big deal for wrestling. I'm not a big college wrestling fan, but, there's probably people out there that enjoy college wrestling. Most people in the Midwest prefer wrestling or like wrestling, but I'm not one of those guys. A couple extensions. Seahawks extend Jackson Smith and Jigba. 4-year, $168 million, which makes him the highest paid receiver in the NFL at 42.
Rockwall zone, baby. Rockwall zone.
Yeah, never forgive Tom Herman for not landing him. But he's going to be making $42.15 million average per year. My question to you, Bill, is what does this do for George Pickens, if anything?
I think that George Pickens' market is kind of what it is. If his camp is looking to get to that number, there's no way getting near that number. There's no way in hell that's happening.
He's not getting that anywhere.
No, I mean, I think I might go. I don't know. I mean, you got Alec Pierce is making like 28.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the
25 to 30, 25 to 30 is where I'd be comfortable.
I would say 30. I'd say 30 to 34 in there. It's high, but I mean, dude, he's a number 1 receiver. He would be a number 1 on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But I'm saying 30, 30-ish, right around there, 30, 32, but I wouldn't go hardly past that. If not, we'll just tag him and hold on to him for a year and get a draft pick when he leaves.
See what happens. Yep. Cubs extend PCA. That's Pete Crow Armstrong. Pretty good young center fielder that they have out there.
Well deserved. Pete's a hell of a player.
He's 6-year, $115 million extension. So, hats off to you, young man. You deserved it.
Yep.
And then for all you Rangers fans, not you, Tiffany, Andrew McCutchen, who did play for the Yankees for a little bit. Andrew McCutchen made the Rangers opening day roster at the age of 39 years old.
How about Cuts? Look at that old man.
Old man made it, so I'm happy. He's probably going to be a rotational guy, but
he's a DH, fourth outfielder guy, DH guy.
Yeah, he'll be a guy when someone needs a day off.
He tore up left-handed pitching last year, so he'll be. You may have, if you got 2 left-handers in a row that you're facing, he may be in the lineup 2 games in a row. One of those may be as a DH.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't see him playing a lot back to back. He'll play the outfield just very sporadically.
Yeah.
Here and there. But I think as long as you got him in there against left-handed pitching, I think he's got a good shot to really help this team.
Yeah. That's all I got for the quick hitters. We can talk a little bit about the Stars. The Stars actually, they've kind of been reeling a little bit. I say that they lost. Actually, last Wednesday they beat Colorado in a shootout. Went to overtime. Beat them in a shootout. So that was a big win for them. Now, mind you, we did that without Moose. Without Faxa. Without Hintz. So this team's going to get better, and they've given Colorado everything that they could stand without those guys.
Took them out last year, so
yeah, took them out last year. The sad part about hockey and the way that it works is we're going to play probably 2 of the best teams in the league, if not, the 2 best other teams in the league in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then if you survive, survey says that's an easy path to the cup, but hockey's a weird sport, just like baseball. You never know how it's going to go.
Yep.
Texas lost to I'm sorry, they beat Colorado last Wednesday 2-1 in overtime, and then they drop a game against against Vegas on Saturday, and then they drop a game against Minnesota. And then last night, again, they lose 6-4. Otter played like total ass.
I will pose a question to you.
Yeah.
I will pose a question to you about that game. Let me throw that in there real quick.
Okay, yeah.
There was a young man last night scored 2 goals for the New Jersey Devils, and he is a goddamn American hero, one Mr. Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, you love your Stars. I do too. And I know you love your country. As do I. For that first goal that Jack Hughes scored last night, would you have cheered that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm after that, maybe the second goal, but probably not. But after that first goal, I'm gonna give him that one because
it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those. If it was anyone but Jack Hughes, I would be booing right now.
No,
one of those.
My God, he's earned it. He's earned that pass.
He's earned it. Love the kid.
Yeah.
He's a great
Absolutely.
kid. Absolutely. Yeah, so they pulled Otter in the second.
Oh, he played like complete butt.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, you're gonna have bad nights, and the game against I think it was the game against Minnesota. I think that was the game after. After the Avalanche game. I'm pretty sure DeSmith went in there and assed it up as well. I would like to say that it's just he's trying to adjust to being a new dad. Hopefully that baby is colicky and he's not getting a lot of sleep. That's what I'm hoping is the case. And I'm hoping it's not that he got paid and now he just decided he wants to be ass, because that's typically what happens to my favorite sports stars on my favorite teams. But I have faith in Otter. He has his rough patches. Every goalie has those rough patches.
That's my guy. So I'm
gonna support him. I'm not gonna bash him. Good news is Rantanen should be back any day now. He's back skating with the team, so I would expect him to be back probably next week. Still no time frame. They're saying that Fax's injury was unique, is what they said, and hence they really haven't released what it was. I hope it's not something significant, like, I'm not going to say the T word, I hope it wasn't something like that, but, it's something we're probably not going to see him until playoff time at the earliest. So I just hope he's back for the playoffs. Let him get ready and then keep him away from McKinnon when we play the Avs, because that's where he got hurt. Stars clinch their 5th straight Stanley Cup appearance, and that's pretty amazing. It's hard to do. It's hard to make the playoffs in hockey. It's hard to stay consistent, and
especially in the Western Conference, buddy.
Yeah, and the Stars are a staple. They are always in the running for first place or at least the top 3 year in and year out. And the Stars sign undrafted free agent Dylan Hirokian, which is Justin's little brother, also goes to Northeastern. So they signed him to a 2-way contract, entry-level contract. So we're going to have another hero, is what I call him for short, on the Stars roster at some point. This is kind of shades to when Jamie Benn's little brother played for a season with us. I think he was a defenseman, and he was just one of those third line defensemen, or occasionally he would get in if somebody was hurt or something like that. But this kid's young. He went undrafted. They said, man, there's got to be something in that DNA. He can, at least worst case scenario, he can go play, get some ice minutes with the Texas Stars, and maybe earn some time up in the big league. So, that's all I got for Stars hockey. If you want, we can kind of jump into some other. I know that we didn't really slot to talk about it, but I've seen some interesting things in regards to the draft. The NFL draft is coming up next month.
I'll gladly talk about that. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's kind of our thing. We kind of nerd out over this kind of stuff. So,
that's.
There was an interesting question that was posed, and I can't remember where I heard it, but it was one of those, hey, the draft starts going a certain way. All your top targets are off the board, right? So, Downs is off the board, Styles is off the board, Delane's off the board, Baines off the board. You're sitting at 12, but Carnell Tate's sitting there.
Ooh.
So my question to you is, well, it's more of a think through this process here. So if your goal is we don't want to pay George Pickens $33 million a year, we can franchise tag him, draft Carnell Tate. He'll be your third wide receiver this season.
Sweet Jesus.
You play, you have just a ridiculously loaded offense, but then, your defense suffers because of it, because you wasted a top 12 pick on a wide receiver that you really don't need, because at that point it's an embarrassment of riches, right? Yeah. Or does someone go, ooh, I've got to trade up and get him to jump in front of who's drafting behind us?
Absolutely.
So I would rather trade back and get some more capital and then take the safety that we were talking about, Thieneman from Oregon, depending on how far back you trade. Now, if you're going to trade 5 spots back, you're going to want some more capital. So maybe you get a second round, you swap your first, you get a second round, and maybe you get a 4th round on top of it, right? I don't know what the trade value is, right? But depending on how bad somebody wants Carnell Tate, or I don't think he's going to be there. I've seen mocks where Jeremiah Love's sitting there at 12. Dallas is not going to take Jeremiah Love. But I can tell you, with Dallas sitting there, somebody's going to go, oh, they don't need them. We can trade up into that spot and get ahead of, XYZ, and we can take this kid there,
I'll say this. And I know you may hate this. In my ideal scenario, most of the players are gone, and it's going to force your hand. It's going to force you a trade back. And I think you could honestly trade back possibly with multiple picks. If I could end up with the first 3 picks, say we had to pick up a second round pick, we move back a couple, we pick up a second round pick. I think if you gave me C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Georgia, Malachi Lawrence, the pass rusher from UCF, and probably Chris Johnson, or the Scott kid from Miami, who I think is pretty talented. I think Johnson's better. But if you give me like those 3 players with your first 3 picks, bro, I would be ecstatic.
All of them are positions of need. They're not the super sexy pick per se, right? But you got to trust your young defensive mind, back there at DC. He's going to take what he wants. I've also seen rumors out there that they're talking about bringing in Bobby Wagner. He's a veteran linebacker. He'll go in and be just fine. He's going to be a place gap. It's not going to be anything more than a year.
The rumors I've heard, man, and I would love this. I don't know how much Texans or Dolphins football you watched last year, but Miami has Jordan Brooks, who's coming off a Pro Bowl season, and I'm a big fan of his. But the one I really like, I would love to see Azeez Al-Shaair, a linebacker from Houston, on the field. Every game I watched Houston last year, that dude, obviously Will Anderson's the guy that's going to stick out because he's just a fierce pass rusher. But Azeez Al-Shaair was all over the field. He plays with a nasty streak. He plays with an edge. He can cover. I would love to have that dude sitting back there on that second line of my defense.
I would take either one of those guys. Brooks is a tackling machine.
Yeah.
I think we talked about him a few weeks ago. He's one of the guys that I brought up that they possibly might trade for, because Miami is just, they're in full rebuild mode. And I don't know if you saw a list of their contracts, man. Their GM asked that roster all up, dude. At the top, they've got so much dead money that they have no choice but to tear it down to the studs and rebuild it. So I mean, I would take either one of those guys, honestly, Bill.
Oh yeah.
If you and then you get a good young linebacker late in the draft,
Say honestly, say this. Say you figure out a way not screw up the draft completely. Figure out a way you get CJ Allen, and you have the Brooks kid with Demo with DeMarvin and Overshown.
Yeah,
bro, that is an athletic group that is going to be everywhere.
I mean, there's a lot of people that forget that DeMarvin Overshown he came out of high school as a safety, man. Like he was long, rangy safety.
Oh no, man, he can play.
And he is a super freaky. I mean, injuries have kind of been, his biggest, drawback to his career so far. He tore his ACL and,
And CJ Allen, dude, CJ Allen's a smart football player. He's going to be it's going to end up being a captain of your defense. He's a 3-down backer, which means he doesn't have to come off the field.
Nope.
So, and you throw, and you got Brooks in. So you have Brooks or Alshire in there, and DeMarvin Overshown. That's a solid linebacker core.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So then you
turn that into a strength.
You talk about turning the defense around, and maybe you get a solid corner, a solid edge rusher, and who knows what happens. Because I think they really, really like the safety they signed out of Arizona. I think he was priority one.
Thompson's a good player, yeah.
I think priority one. They said, "Hey, we need to go get us a safety that can do a little bit of everything." He's going to be the captain of your defense, and I think that's why they went out and got him, because he can play multiple positions. They don't have, like you said, they don't have to take him off the field, right? If they switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3, they're not having to take him out. They can just slide him down to nickel if they need to,
And there's safeties in this draft that you could get mid to late second round, early third round, like third round. The kid from South Carolina, Kilgore, very impressive. You've got Ramsey from USC. You've got Halsey from. Now he's probably gonna go a little higher in the second round. But you got Halsey from LSU is a really good player.
Did you see that? Was it Harold Perkins? Is that his name? The linebacker. Did you see what he ran on his pro day?
I did not.
He ran a 4.3840.
It's absurd. I loved him. I loved him coming out of high school. He was thought to be, maybe possibly end up going to Texas. He ends up going to LSU. Fantastic player. He's a little on the smaller side.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't hate to have him a little bit later. The kid from Pittsburgh that you brought up, the Lewis kid.
Yeah,
I've been very impressed with the stuff I've seen from him. Yeah.
He's one of those tweeners, man. He can do everything.
Guy you can roll down coverage linebacker. He's definitely a third down guy. You're going to throw him in there, and he can. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
It's coming. It's getting close enough to draft time where we can start getting excited about it. We've been talking about it for months now. Once we figured out Dallas wasn't doing anything, postseason wise. We started talking about the draft, and then once you get past Christmas and New Year, and then you get past, Valentine's Day and free agency, and you're like, okay, it's time to start. I'm excited to see what Shoddy and Christian Parker's plan is for this draft. I don't want to sound like overly optimistic Cowboy fan, but it feels different. It feels different. They're actually
letting Scotty do stuff, John. They're letting the coach do something. Schottenheimer's letting Christian Parker do stuff.
Yeah,
your head coach isn't dictating everything.
Yeah,
and the Joneses most certainly aren't dictating everything.
Yeah,
it's been really nice. I'm gonna have you a list of players next week that I really like that I see a lot of potential in. I'm gonna get you a list of players, and you can give me one. You can give me one too. There's some guys I've really had my eye on, and I think. And they could be had. They're not all top of the draft guys. Later in the draft, I think it could help you.
Yeah, this is one of those. There's not a lot of super elite talent at the top of the draft, but it's super deep. You know what I mean? Like there are drafts that are very, very shallow where there's not a lot of talent in it at all. But this is one that's got a lot of talent, especially at linebacker and safety. And not necessarily like the offensive positions. Like I know that there was a receiver that was really, really good. His numbers tested really well. I think he was from, I want to say it was like, no, it wasn't South Carolina. Anyways, the kid just ran a ridiculously fast 40 time, and he showed out at the combine or at the it's the combine, right? Yeah, the pro days combine. No, it was the combine. It was the combine. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. Maybe I was having a stroke. But anyways, it was at the combine, and they were talking about this kid. We had no idea. So when we get back, we'll jump into some Texas baseball and March Madness.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal gifts. With state-of-the-art equipment and a team of skilled designers, we can engrave intricate designs on virtually any material. Whether it's a special message, a company logo, or a custom design, Romika Laser Engraving will help you make your mark. And the best part, our prices are affordable and our turnaround time is quick.
I couldn't be happier with the work Romika Laser Engraving did for me. The engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Before we jump back into it, let's thank our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Ensemble Co-working, Fort Worth's hub for private offices, co-working, meeting space, and virtual mail. Find your perfect workspace at ensemblecoworking.com. So I figured we can jump into some college baseball first, unless you want to talk about the March Madness bracket first and some of the games.
I mean, we can get into it real quick. I don't have a ton on it. I just kind of want to go over some of the matchups.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously our Longhorns, man, they got a tough one, man. They're playing tomorrow night. They're playing Purdue. I mean, I watched Purdue and they've been pretty impressive. I didn't know a ton about Purdue, to be honest. I didn't watch a ton of them this year. They're granted they're a 2 seed for a reason, man. They got some good size, and their point guard, man, that dude he's a damn good shot, and he's a hell of a passer. The Longhorns are going to be up against it this week. You called the Gonzaga game.
Real quick, before we move on from Purdue and Texas playing them, just a quick stat that not a lot of people knew. Texas is 11-0 on Thursdays in the last 4 seasons. Just throwing that out there.
Texas God. Did I just hear you guarantee a win?
No, you did not hear me say that. Nope, never said it. But
John, you had to bet your house on it. Who's winning?
Purdue. In my bracket, I had us beating Gonzaga. I had us making it to this round, and I had us losing to Purdue. If we win, I would easily throw that bracket away and say, "Man, we're going to the Elite Eight in year one."
Happily, yeah.
And before we continue with the rest of the bracket, there was something that you and I kind of touched on this weekend. You were busy, and we kind of talked a little bit.
Yeah,
I had
a little bit going on.
Just a little bit. She's a lucky lady, but anyways, so there's this conversation, all right, like especially here locally, and I want to say it's like a national conversation because Texas is a big brand. They're saying that Texas can't be a Cinderella. I heard the local guys on the fan talking about it. You know, I know Bobby's a Texas fan. He kind of agreed with them. And I'm like, dude, listen, Cinderella doesn't have anything to do with how big your program is. It has everything to do with the seeding. You were basically in the play-in, and you made it to the Sweet 16. That's what makes March Madness so. That's why they call it March Madness, dude.
Are they Oakland or VCU,
right?
Or a school like that? But
that's what they're not.
Say. But no, they're not. But like I said, and you and I talked about this, and it's based on the seeding. To me, they have to be, man. They're the lowest seeded team left. They're a double-digit seed, which is easily the lowest. I mean, I think the next lowest seed is Iowa. That's a 9, and they just beat the number 1 team in the country.
Yep. Here's the other thing too. The other layer to that, right? They talk about NIL valuation. They talked about how much we spend on our roster and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at it, and they have to be looking at the wrong numbers, right? Because I think they loop in what we spend as a program. Buyouts go into that as well. So that entire coaching staff of Rodney Terry's got bought out. So that goes into the operation costs, right? Yeah. Our roster, what we spent on our roster is like, I want to say it's 9th or 10th in the SEC.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how much money was spent on these basketball rosters. At the very top, I think, was Kentucky, right? I think they spent like $22 million. They're already out of it.
Gone.
Right? They're gone, right? But it didn't really get brought up until Texas overperformed, and people are hating on Texas because we're the Death Star. We're the biggest brand in sports. They don't like it.
It's like the Yankees, man, or the Lakers. You love them or you hate them. They're the Cowboys. It's the same.
It's the same thing. Everybody hates on Texas. I'm not saying we're a victim, right?
No, we don't go there. Yeah,
I'd rather be a Texas Longhorn than a Sooner, than an Aggie, than anything, right? So I've been burnt orange since the day I was born, right? There's nothing that's going to change that. And you can cry all you want. Texas is in the Sweet 16. Oklahoma is not. Texas Tech is not. Texas A&M is not. So you can suck it. I don't care. We're in the Sweet 16 in year one under Sean Miller. So
I just want to see them. And this is a coaching staff that got thrown together late. Sean Miller has proven with this roster that the man can coach basketball.
Oh yeah.
I've already brought this up with you on here. I would love that. I hope that they give him the financial wherewithal to help build this team, because the man can coach.
I want to say that's probably one of the biggest reasons he came here is CDC guaranteed him that he would. CDC is not a guy. Chris Del Conte, for people that don't know Texas speak,
best AD in the freaking country.
Not even close, hands down.
No.
Best
every
AD
sport, every sport, John. We contend for championships. Every sport.
Yep, we contend.
So it's a high bar,
and nobody can say, like, Alabama just lost their women's basketball coach to South Florida because they don't invest in all their sports. CDC invests in every sports program at the University of Texas. I don't care if it's rowing. I don't care if it's football. From the top down, he invests in them. So I would say that's going to be the same thing. They just signed a big deal with KD and Nike. So anyways, that's enough about that. I just wanted to touch on that. Go ahead with the rest of your games. I'm sorry.
that other the other game in the West is a game that I'm actually particularly looking forward to on Thursday, and that's going to be the number one Arizona Wildcats, who reluctantly they are my pick to win it all.
Same,
but they are playing Arkansas, who has been on quite the run lately, led by one Mr. Darius Acuff Jr.
Yep.
Kid that is, I would love to see him fall to Dallas, but the way that kid's playing, he's gonna play us out. He's gonna play us out of the picture because that kid is on a tear right now. But Arizona overall is just they're a monster. I think they're too deep, but I think Arkansas is going to give them a run at least for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're athletic enough.
I
mean, Calipari's always got a team, regardless. If
I forgot. They need to say they're also very well coached. So
regardless if he does well by them, he always underperforms. He always makes a deep run, and then he loses when he's not supposed to. Like he's one of those guys that should have 10 basketball championships, and he doesn't.
A lot.
And that's part of the reason why he's not at Kentucky anymore. They ran his ass out of there, and Arkansas is like, gimme, he can come here, we'll do it.
Yeah, no kidding. But
yeah, I agree. That's going to be a good one.
Like I said, that's a good one. Also, tomorrow night you've got Nebraska. Iowa Giant Killer beat defending national championship Florida the other day. That's going to be a tough matchup. Them and Iowa. To me, that's a toss up. Even though Nebraska's a 4 and Iowa's a 9. I think Nebraska ultimately wins that, but I think that's going to be a fine game. I really do. Nebraska was a really, really top notch team all season. They did have a little bit of a swoon later in the season. They did hit they struggled a little bit at times. I still think they're a lot better team. And another what could be a good matchup, and this could be a 75 to 64 matchup. It's Houston, number 2 seed Houston against Illinois. And that game, Illinois has got some really talented offensive players, but Houston's defense, as you well know, they are locked down. They are athletic.
They're a Samson team, man.
And those they are a strong team. They are actually out of the South. They are my pick to come out of the South because I believe in that team that much.
Dan, I was watching the Illinois play. I forget who they were playing, and they were big, man. They're the biggest team at the tournament, I believe, is what you were saying.
You said Illinois?
Yeah, Illinois. They're huge.
And Michigan might argue with them on that because Michigan's a big
true.
team.
That's true. They're big too, but man, they've got like an entire Russian roster. I mean, outside of Stojakovic, right? Everyone knows who Peja Stojakovic is, but his son, like he originally went to, I think it was Stanford, and then he transferred, went to Illinois, and I'm like, man, they're good, man. They're really good.
They're a good team. I think that's going to be a fun game. I really do.
And then I watched Michigan play this last weekend.
They are impressive.
They whooped the hell out of Indiana. Was it Indiana State that they played? No. It was St. Louis. It was St. Louis. And St. Louis was a good program. They were good. And
Larry Nerd he couldn't hold up.
Yeah.
Milk Chamberlain.
I mean, he just after the initial shock of the first half, like they stayed close, and then you could see the depth that Michigan had on their roster. Just they couldn't
the size and the talent and the depth.
Yeah.
Honestly, John, this is so much fun. This is a lot of fun because I see 3 or 4 teams that it honestly would not shock me to see win a championship. With Arizona, it's to me it's so close. Arizona, Michigan, Duke, because I watched Duke play Michigan and beat them, in a really, really tight game, a couple months back.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Houston find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Like Michigan's got they've got a hell of a challenge playing against Bama on Friday. I think they ultimately going to take that down. And then I think they're going to roll over either Iowa State or Tennessee, most likely Iowa State.
Yeah. I agree.
You got UConn against Michigan State, another Tom Izzo led team. Wouldn't surprise me to see them take down.
You can never count them out.
Dan Hurley and UConn. Him of a couple of championships, or at least one championship there. and that's going to be an outstanding game. And you got Duke, my Duke Blue Devils against the Redmen of St. John's, the Red Storm. Now I don't want to be politically incorrect. The Red Storm there. I just think Duke's too good a team there. I think they're gonna find their way out of that bracket. And Duke, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan, dude, anybody of those four would not shock me to see them win a championship. But there's some really fun games this weekend, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what they got out there.
They're going to be fun to watch.
Yes, sir. What do you want to get into now, John?
Oh my God. So Texas baseball, man. So the second week in a row, last night I watched probably the most abysmal performance of my life outside of last week when they lost to Tarleton. They lost to Houston last night in baseball.
Oof.
They were up 7-0 going into the sixth inning.
Yeah.
They ended up losing 9-7.
Damn.
We had 3 hits. Now, I will say a lot of their high leverage guys, with the exception of Thomas Burns did get in last night and walk the bases loaded.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so there's that. Jason Flores started the game and he actually pitched pretty well. He pitched 4 innings, and then they had an inning where they could not throw a strike, and by they I mean Houston.
Oof.
And they walked in a bunch of runs basically, and then Ethan Mendoza finally got a base hit. I think he's 1 for his last 18 or something like that. He's been bad. Basically, what it's boiled down to is the bullpen has struggled mightily, and the offense has struggled as well, and that's a recipe for disaster, especially when you're playing teams like Auburn. So Friday night, let's just jump into the weekend. They played Auburn this weekend. Auburn is one of the top pitching staffs and top offenses in the country. Last week, before the Texas and Auburn game started, or Auburn series started, Auburn played number 3 Georgia Tech in a midweek game and beat them 9-2. That's a good Georgia Tech team. They're number 3 in the country for a reason, and they beat the piss out of them. So after seeing what Texas did last week against Tarleton, I was concerned going in. Well, we lost in embarrassing fashion. We had the lead 3-1. Aiden Robbins hit 2 solo moonshot home runs in that game. We were up 3-1, and we loaded the bases. We had 1 out. They pinch hit Bristol Carter, who is a guy that they transferred in, and I guess he's the spark plug of their team. He transferred in from ECU, which is a good baseball program in and of itself. But he transferred in, got a base hit to center field, rolls up to probably our best hitter on the team, Aiden Robbins. He's center field, and it's just a routine, into center field, just over the shortstop, second baseman. Lands in front of him. He goes to scoop it. He doesn't put his glove on the ground. It rolls between his legs and rolls to the fence. They beat us like that. It rolled to the fence. Of course, the bases were loaded. They scored 3 runs. We lose 4-3. Before that, the Auburn fans were throwing beer cans onto the field, just being, ignorant asses. Ruger Riojas actually pitched really well. He tossed 6 1/3 innings, a 1-run baseball, and he had 6 Ks. I think he had 2 on, or maybe he had the bases loaded, and they put Wake Forest transfer Hayden LeFew in. He got out of a bases loaded jam with 1 out against a really good team. The dude has got a set that clanks, man. You can't say enough about that kid. There's a reason they brought him in, and that's it. So we lost. And with that, Texas was officially on their first losing streak. They lost 2 games in a row. Tarleton on Tuesday. I cannot believe I just said they lost to Tarleton. And then they lost to Auburn on Friday. So Saturday rolls around, and Texas, again, they raced out to a 6-0 lead. And then, again, Auburn tried to rally late. Thomas Burns loaded the bases in the 9th with 2 outs. He induced a ground out to snap Auburn's 12-game win streak. Aiden Robbins hit his 3rd home run in 5 at-bats. He was red hot at the plate.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. That was his 3rd home run in 5 at-bats. Senior Jaden Duplantier hit his 1st career home run, and it was a 3-run piss missile over the giant in left field that Auburn has. Beautiful stadium that they have, by the way. Maddox Mansour, he's a freshman. He got his 1st start at DH. He went 3 for 4, which was the best our best offensive player that we had by far on Saturday. And Luke Harrison pitched well. He got out of trouble early in the game. He had the bases loaded in the 1st inning with no outs, and he got out of it without giving up a run. And then he pitched 5 2/3 innings with 6 Ks. So, we evened up the series, made us feel a little better. And then on Sunday, Texas held Auburn to just 4 hits on the day, clinching their 1st road series win over a top 5 team in 5 years. Dylan Volantis only pitched 4 innings. That's probably because that was the worst umpire that I've ever seen in my life, and that was on both sides. Strike zone was so inconsistent. It was hard to get in a groove, but he pitched 4 scoreless innings and 4 Ks. Sam Cozart came in and pitched in relief. He pitched 2 2/3 hitless, retiring 6 of 7 with 3 Ks. And then Ethan Walker, they call him Ewok. And then Brett Crosland and Max Scrubs got the last 8 outs of the day. Casey Borba hit a 2-run homer. Carson Tenney had a 2-strike, 2-out, 2 RBI single in the 4th. And Texas took the series. Great response from Coach Schloss and the staff. And then this abomination happens on Tuesday. Now, they did say with the quick turnaround, because the series starts with Oklahoma this week, it starts on Thursday. So they left a lot of the high leverage pitchers. They left a lot of those guys in Austin to get some rest. Before the game starts tomorrow night, we are actually in Austin playing Oklahoma in a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So it's going to be fun. I hope the bullpen response. My heart of hearts tells me this is just a rough patch.
I think so. I think you're probably right.
In baseball, forgive my French, for lack of a better term, shit happens. Sometimes the bullpen's going to struggle. Sometimes your offense is going to be ass. The offense showed up when it needed to against Auburn. Last night I saw A-Rod make probably the most boneheaded mistake at second base. They hit into a double play that would have saved us 3 runs in that inning.
Yeah.
And they hit it right back at the pitcher. The pitcher, it hit him, and he got it through a good ball over to second base to A-Rod. He took his eyes off it and just rolled past him into the outfield. I'm like, dude, it's just stupid baseball mistakes that they're making that's costing them games. They're kind of a young team.
They are. They really are.
They've got a lot of young guys in the bullpen. They've got 3 freshmen actually that are major bullpen pieces for us. In Crosland and Sam Cozart, and then the kid from Kansas who's been dealing with an ailment. He's probably got some rust, so we're probably not going to see him again this week. I forget his name. There's a lot of names rolling around in my head right now. So, but he's played pretty well. So Texas took the series. They got Oklahoma this weekend. We take the series from Oklahoma. All is good. I think they play like Lamar next week or something like that. So, the midweek games, you never know what's going to happen because you're playing younger guys. If the offense doesn't show up, you could seriously be in trouble. So, some more baseball news. South Carolina dismisses Paul Maneri over the weekend. Their manager, their head coach. And for those of you who don't know who Paul Maneri is, he won the 2009 College World Series as the head coach at LSU.
Wow.
He was the 2015 Coach of the Year, and he's got 1,545 wins as a head coach in college baseball. He was a game over 500 in just a season and a half at South Carolina. I think they got popped pretty good.
Crazy, dude.
They got popped pretty good on Friday. They were playing Arkansas, who's a good team. Got a damn good offense. They've always got live arms in the bullpen. They didn't get swept. They actually won. I think it was I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. They actually won a tight game, took one from Arkansas. But
Hold up. Breaking news. Live score, Yankees 5, San Francisco 0.
I'll take it. I don't like Tony Vitello. I don't like Tony Vitello, so that's
thanks for the update, young lady.
No problem. Bye-bye.
I love it.
Little pop-ins like that. We got to have that more often. That's fantastic.
We got to. Breaking news. All right. I should have asked her if Aaron Judge found his bat. So
because he couldn't find it during the World Baseball Classic.
That's right.
But anyway, I admire her passion. I love how passionate she is.
Yeah.
We got our Rangers starting tomorrow against Philly. We're playing Philly tomorrow, correct?
Yep.
I love our rotation.
Yep.
I love the rotation. I like the offense. I don't like our bullpen. Still,
it's the same team as last year.
I don't like our bullpen. I tell you what, I did like the way Skip Schumacher told Carter Baumler that he was on the team.
That was pretty cool.
They were playing a game the other day, and he goes out. Baumler, I guess, thought he was going to go out and take him out, which is probably what most of us thought.
Yeah.
He went out there to talk to him. Probably thought he was going to take him out. Instead, that's how he told him he made the team.
And everybody was surrounded with them, and everybody.
Yeah, all the infielders, the catcher, cool. Everybody was in there. I thought that was a fantastic way to do that by Skip Schumacher. So kudos to him.
I think he's a Rule 5 kid that we got from Pittsburgh. I
believe he is.
Yeah.
John, to me, it depends on the health of the top two guys in your rotation.
Yeah.
If Jack Leiter can take a step forward, can Evan Carter stay healthy? Because he's proven when he's on the field, he's a damn talented player.
Yeah.
Are you going to get enough out of your catching position with Higashioka and Danny Jansen? Is Jock Peterson? Can Jock Peterson bounce back from all accounts? He looks like he's in great shape. He's working hard.
Yeah.
Is Jock Peterson going to be able to bounce back? You're paying him a pretty fair amount of money.
Yeah.
You need more out of him. Berger probably needs to have a better year.
Yep.
Young. I'd see Josh Young's got to. That's another Josh. This is going to depend a lot on health, and I think if they're close at the trade deadline, I think they'll probably add a bullpen guy. But this is what killed this team last year. Wasted a historically bad starting rotation, one of the best, if not the best, pitching seasons we've ever had as a team.
Yep.
In my lifetime, and I don't see that they haven't addressed the bullpen. Who's going to close games? You're going to tell me Robert Garcia? You're going to tell me Chris Martin? Those guys are great setup men, John, but they're not closers.
Yeah.
There's nobody in that bullpen right now that screams, "Okay, I'm going to get the last 3 outs of this game."
Yeah.
And just that to me, that's man. If this is the way this goes again this year, if it's the same formula, I'm going to be so damn disappointed because you're wasting another group of talent. When your pitching staff, your offense is solid. I don't want to see it, man. We got to do something about this bullpen.
They went in and got 2 bargain bin pieces at the deadline last year, and Danny Colomby and what was the other guy? Merrill Kelly.
We got Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's a starter. We got one other. We got him. We got one other.
There's another reliever.
Phil Maton.
Phil Maton.
Yeah, and neither one of them did terrible. Neither one of them did great. But neither one of them were closers. And that's the main thing right there.
You didn't get what we actually needed, which was a freaking closer.
There's going to be guys available if they're close at the deadline. I implore this team, this ownership group, this general manager, make a move,
please, for your fans.
Yes.
Mental health. Please do it. Well, it's another great show. Love you, buddy. We will see you guys next week. Welcome.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares.